keep an eye out for those of you at home viewing for Our Town. We Love Moreno Valley, a new publication. I believe it, I'm not exactly sure who is putting it out, but it's a very good, informative publication telling good things about our city. Again, I'd like to reiterate the good things we saw at Landmark Middle School, and I would like to again do a shout out to Vicki Dudek at the Moreno Unified School District for the great job and passion that she shows. I think she points to the very positive, she is the absolute quintessential example of what leadership can do. And principals do make a difference. They do set the tone for their school. And Principal Dudek is definitely passionate. It's in her remarks. It was touching to see how much it meant to her that her school did well. And so leadership is not always an easy path, and it is difficult. And I know that she's had difficult times. She's made difficult decisions. She's rubbed people the wrong way. But unless you do that, sometimes you don't get the results that you need. So Vicki, please again accept my congratulations on your achievement. We've heard a lot of things here today. We've got a very short meeting, try to get us out quickly, but just thought we'd take them one at a time. It's kind of interesting to hear a speaker talk about the $100,000 that I wasted in a lawsuit when that person had a frivolous lawsuit that cost the city $2.3 million. So it's an interesting thing how things work and how facts are sort of malleable. They're like silly putty. So the fact is that because a judge ruled against us does not make Moreno Valley's position wrong. It just means that we didn't prevail. It's still, still the taxpayers of this city need to understand that $2.3 million a year that we're losing in tax revenue is a subsidy to this Joint Powers Association. It is money that could be in our coffers. It is money that could be spent for our public safety. It is money that could be spent for our schools. It is money that could be spent for after-school programs. And it is money that is going to the county. And for that $2.3 million, the county provides nothing, not a single thing. So we may have lost in court, but that doesn't mean we were wrong. So the other thing that was touched on was Highland Fairview and I have become partners, obviously, in the minds of these recall people. They mentioned Tom Owings and Highland Fairview's money in the same breath. I wish I had Highland Fairview's money, but I don't. And had I been asked about the money they spent in this recall, which I wasn't because it was an independent expenditure, I would have told Mr. Benzivi to save his money and give it to the Salvation Army. At least there it would have done some good. So for those of you who know me, you know that I am my own man. It was my money and it was my effort, and it had nothing to do with Highland Fairview. And Highland Fairview the operator of Highland Fairview doesn't often listen or take advice, but had he asked my advice, I would have said, don't do it, give it to charity. Split it up, give it to 50 charities in the city and accomplish something good with that money. So, in terms of Highland Fairview, we just need to put it into perspective in terms of the World Logistics Center. Since I've been mayor, we've removed 100 acres, or I've been responsible for talking 100 acres out of that and to keep it into housing. I've been responsible for removing $100 million worth of infrastructure from the city's side of the ledger and placing it squarely on the developer side of the ledger. And I'm also responsible for trying to get the city to rectify what happened to the 6 or 7 property owners that were included in that program by the last council's vote. So probably single-handedly, I've also been instrumental in working with the city staff to move the money from Theodore down to Moreno Beach for improvements as opposed to Theodore. But of course, none of what I do matters. It's only what is said that matters. So again, I just remind the voters to look at what I've done, not what has been said about me, or this council, or this city staff. The other thing I would, I keep listening to this 3-0 thing, and I think Craig Givens just likes using the word piss can. That's just what I think it is. Because if you look at the votes on this council, this council has more 5-0 votes than any council. It's absolutely united. The only time that I can recall by my tally, which is not official, but it's pretty close, the only time that we had a 4-1 vote was when Richard Stewart didn't vote for me for mayor the second time, but of course he nominated me the first time. So it seems to me that this is a 5-0 club right here, and we have 5 people who are united in moving this city forward, and for that I'm thankful, and Craig probably needs to get his math right, and maybe he could go out in the hall and say piss can about 100 times and get it out of his system. So with that, then we have this whole thing about the chicken and the egg. If we create zoning for $1 million house, will a millionaire buy the house and build a house, buy the property and build a house? And I believe the word is no. I believe the city of Moreno Valley is a good community just the way it is. I think it just needs to continue to be fiscally solvent, fiscally sound, and it needs to be proud of the fact that we're a home we're a place where people can afford a home. We're proud. That doesn't mean you have to be a second-class citizen because you don't live in $1 million house, and it doesn't make you a great community because you got millionaires living in it. So the point of the matter is that I'm proud that the city is looking for those sustainable, or for that affordable housing. And what kind of house you live in doesn't have a doggone thing to do with who you are, or what you are, or what kind of person you are. So just for those of you out there in the recall land, I want to correct the record. I said I own a home in Irvine. I know you're busily checking with the assessor's office right now, and you're going to find that it's a Lisa Viejo. But I know that it would be a big thing to find out that I misspoke. So we'll set that record straight. Extian?
Well, I just want to begin with congratulating the Miss Moreno Valley pageant delegates. It was really nice to see